All right, we've got a market open here. Trend was working down here. We've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on the bottom, but it just broke off the top side. So it's not, it's not the best trend line channel. Came down here, got a break of all this stuff, little congestion here, break here, new low. Could be reversing. However, this main trend line here, call this 1, 2, 3, 4. This has a break a new high. This has a break a new low. We're just kind of flapping around. We also have news in 12 minutes. So right now I'm just kind of sitting on my hands. Yeah, I don't see anything I could take. Let's see if it breaks this pre-hour low, pre-open low. A micro trend here. Micro congestion here. Got our new low for channel 1. It's an interesting reaction off this. Doesn't look like it's going to hold it, but interesting little bounces. Curious. Maybe there's something wider here to look at. First entry. No second entry failure to take. We back out and start playing around with other possibilities. Definitely not fitting yet. It should have thought something like this comes into play. Just for context, we have a huge gap on the chart that definitely will need filled, you would think. So down seems temporary. Hard to really know if there's a break in new low here. Okay. First entry. Pull that down to grab an extra touch. Support down here. Strong bar. I don't think it's anything we could have or wanted to take on this engulfment of the inside candle. We are now looking at a second entry. It's not quite yet. We would need a break below this for a second entry long to start forming for a failure. So right now I'm just kind of looking at this as a no trade zone. It's interesting to me that we can't break to the low side of this range, or just haven't yet. Might be a precursor to my theory that we're headed higher. There's a break. Can't really take this second entry long. 1, 2, well, maybe you can. It's a 1, 2, 3, basically a triple test. But you've got this support, or this resistance line, potential resistance line running down here. And then you've got support up here. Also, forgot about this news. So I'm glad we're out. What was that little spike we just saw? Forget to name this trend. Call that 5. It's an interesting failure in higher low here forming. Don't think we can go long yet. We haven't confirmed really anything. But in theory, this little micro trend could use a new high. I think if we can bounce off this one more time, this might be an interesting straight through. Yeah, overall, really nothing to take here. Play around with this. Even if you take the high of the open, it just all feels very messy. Like no matter which channel you're playing around with. It feels messy. Something potentially forming here. It just looks too sideways. Do you think this might play out for a new low off the second entry long? It's too risky. Too sideways. And so if you play this, it's already got you know, 6 is tough because you don't really know if this is acting as a breaking new low or this is just, breaking sideways. Now looks like we're about to get a new low off this. This second entry long, depending on how much you take out of it, could work for you, potentially. Yeah. Probably would have gotten filled right there. Just a tough zone to trade. It does seem, though, that we're reacting off of the top of this. I don't know that we quite have it 100% correct. I think there's a potential to be looking at something more along these lines. consider this a spike in channel, you wouldn't draw it from up here. Start somewhere down here, but it's just, like I said, it doesn't feel like the cleanest thing in the world. So you almost got your measured move for this. Now these two legs here. There you go. Yeah, I mean it's really interesting. What was support here turned into resistance right here. So I do think this is an interesting key level to remember. Just drawing this as something to watch out for. You know, if this range is too wide, maybe it's something in here. At least gets us 2 touches opposed to just 1. Draw some congestion here. Make this red from now on. No trade indicator. You get this. Clearly, you've got this working down here too. Okay, breaking this. Let's move this back out. This is the most interesting channel to pay attention to right now. Let's name this one 7. I don't know why this 6 is sticking around. It's from the bar size indicator. Alright, we've got a first entry short here. This is the first break of this channel 7. Whoa. Got a medium news item here. New home sales. That was interesting because it hasn't even hit yet. But we've clearly got a break, and I think this channel is valid. Just considering how many touches we got on the top side and bouncing off the low here. See if we can get a new low. Also, I think we need to be open to the fact that this is an overshoot. Again, would play into my larger theory that this thing rockets up to fill that gap. First entry, second entry short. Obviously, maybe not obviously, but clearly, I guess not clearly, we can't risk that. Very open to a failed entry, second entry long here to the short side. As long as it plays out somewhere in here. Don't think we're going to get it.
Order submitted.
It's just too risky. It's too risky to go short in here. I do think it's going to be a nice trade, but it's too far from here. Nice trade. If you didn't get stopped out here. There's clearly some support here. Interesting area to bounce off of. If you just slightly adjust this, it really kind of highlights our theory of an overshoot here. Although, you know, I think we would expect with this overshoot to rocket right back. So maybe we're not 100% accurate there.
Order canceled.
Would be nice to see this come back up and confirm this range up here. In hindsight, I think taking this failed second entry long here, I don't know. Yeah, I think the context without the bars to the right is, you know, is risky. So, you know, obviously in hindsight it worked out well, but that was a hard one to take in the moment. Get another second entry short playing out here. Again, just really tough, you know, going into all this support. Got a little bit of a wedge forming here as well, which truthfully I've never been able to really understand. How to play these. So first entry, second entry long, failure forming here at the lows of the day, at all this resistance. You know, it's the same deal from up here. You know, unfortunately will probably work out, but I don't know that we can bet on that. Just looks confusing to me too. Spending a lot of time here. Like a ton of time here. Okay, dropped out of here. Still just rolling lower. Nothing, no entry. No, this is confusing. We'll keep it here for now. I think this is probably clearly not an overshoot at this point, just given the fact that it, didn't reverse on us. It's interesting though, out of this triangle, we broke out to the bottom, tested it, rejection, and now we've got this new one working down, which arguably already has a new low to it. This is annoying me because it's leaving little traces of these bar sizes. It's not supposed to. and frozen. Just gonna remove this and see if we can get unfrozen here. I basically had to restart everything, and it's still loading. Yeah, man, that was unfortunate, and I don't think this is obviously not accurate. All my stuff is moved. Gosh. Well, not everything. Curious what was in this bar though. Almost probably worth reloading. There's probably a nice second entry short in there that we missed. It's definitely respecting the bottom of this range more now, which makes me believe that this is being validated. I just want to know what happened in this one bar here. It's reloading the data. Man, is it really not going to show me? That's pretty wild, actually. I don't know that I can trust this data. So let's just open this up. What time is that? 7:09. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like we necessarily got anything. I don't think we got like a second entry short that we would have taken, but that's a lot of time, to be honest. Holy smokes. And also, EMA is no longer accurate. Huh. I'm gonna shut down again and restart. I don't know, I haven't restarted yet, but if this is accurate, what's forming here is I'm gonna make myself not take anything because I'm just very unsure of what's like. Is this truly above? I mean, it would seem that NinjaTrader is wrong, and now we're back above EMA. But 1, 2, this is like a very interesting. I'm just gonna take this because I think it's a failed second entry short. Also, well, it's gonna stop. It would have stopped me out. Who knows what's right? Dang. This is actually quite annoying. Like I'm confused because NinjaTrader seems to make more sense to me than this moving average here. Like this jump, I guess I just don't have this price action here on NinjaTrader. It's like I'm missing. I think it's still worth like reloading. Still waiting for this to reload. I dropped it down to just only loading the previous day on the chart to try to load it faster, but yeah, it's been over a minute now and it's actually really frustrating. So first entry, second entry long, First entry, second entry short. Here comes the new data. Wow, this is even worse. This is... I just can't trust any of this. This is ridiculous. I guess I'm just going to completely shut this down. I'm going to sign out of our trader. Okay, I signed out of everything. I closed it. Our trader, man. Closed. Ninja Trader. This looks like what we were seeing on okay. All right. Whew, we're back. That was really extremely frustrating. So we had a trend working down here. Let's call this 6, 7, 8. New low. Working up. Working up. Working up again. And we are getting a second entry long here. Pushing above. Dropping back down. I think up, down, up, down, up, down, all over the EMA. I don't think this is a good spot to necessarily go short, although this is an interesting reaction off of what we defined as the point of control just maybe 10 minutes ago from this area here, from the volume profile, which was a 1, 2, third entry short, higher low, third entry short. Maybe a decent setup. Going right into the EMA though, I don't know. Let's start to look at something like this. More realistically, probably something like this. So if this is 1, 2, three, break, looking for a new low here. To validate this trend. I think we called this trend 4. I'm looking for it to break this level. Okay, I'm gonna break the new low for trend 4. Up, down, up, down, up, down. To remind us, we've still got this huge gap here. It's possible that we have a small little break and retest here. It's so hard to know with these smaller micro channels. I think personally think a failure here is more likely than a failure on a second entry short here is more likely than not, given we just broke the large channel, got a new low, we've got 1, 2, 3 touches on this support line down here. It would make more sense to me that we push higher out of this. knows? This is also like, you know, I think overall just a little bit kind of confusing price action. Again, can't go short at the very bottom of the day after this break and new low. You know, while this again will probably play out and work, just can't do it. Just gonna delete this for now. I don't know that that's part of this. Do you think this is an interesting? You know, I'm not experienced enough to take this, but this feels like a failed second entry short, but this also feels like a lower high where you could go take the opposite. But if I'm betting on the upside here more than I am the downside. However, I mean, maybe what I should be thinking is like, hey, we just gapped down huge. Like, any longs for the day are out of the question. Maybe I, should be risking a little bit on some of these second entry shorts that are testing the lows because they're more likely to break. I don't, not experienced enough to know per se, enough to expose myself to the risk. I'm just gonna keep marking up the chart and calling what I see, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, now 5 times off the bottom of this. First entry long, second entry long. I don't know. I think you would have obviously gotten stopped here, so I was wrong on that one. Taking a little bit of a step back. Let's see if there's anything we can add to this chart to make it make more sense. The midline on this feels I have to say it does feel more like it's fitting. And that would explain why we're not getting a strong reversal on what we thought was a break and new low. So we're getting an interesting second entry short again here after breaking through this resistance. I am considering taking this, just given possible confirmation off of this trend line. Downtrend is extremely strong.
Order submitted.
If we can wick above this and then come back down, that's what I'd like to see. Kind of confirm the trend, and then also let's see what happens. Can wick up and then come back down. I think it's playing for another nice little short setup at the lows. I think I have to call out, like, I am risking that this ends up being the low of the day. If we can't trigger a nice signal bar here, a little higher low, pull back to this trend line. This is super interesting that it just bounced right off of this wider trend that we just drew from pre-market, essentially. Got 1, 2, 3 touches on the lows, 2 touches on the high, 3 touch now on the highs. Seems to fit midline much better. Let's see if we can get a higher low or a lower high out of this. Just want that to pop back up. Give me a nice little bearish bar here. And then run down. Come on, pop up. I'm out if no lower high forms. Can we get it? Can we get a little pop up here and then a push down? Come on. One more tick. One more tick. Here we go. Nice bearish bar. My stop will go right above this bar here. If it, there we go. Ah, it's not bearish. It's not. If we can get a tick above this and a nice bearish bar down here. Nope, nope, nope. That is not what I wanted.
Order canceled.
Thesis is debunked. We get a nice little higher low though off of this. A little touch to the EMA. I think gotta be careful either way here. If this trend line is accurate, this is the new break. Looking for a new low now. New low being down here. I'm just gonna take this on sim because I think this higher low is
Order submitted.
nice.
Order filled.
I dropped on one point since I Scuffed it by one. On sim, because I'm just playing around with this, I'm not convicted enough to think this is worth risking the valuation account, but this will pop up high low above EMA. We could have potentially already had the break in new low if we stuck with the original channel. There's reasons to like this. Nice bearish bar here. Or bullish bar, I mean. Let's see. I think I'm interested in keeping the 1-to-1 risk. Which is actually up here now because I scuffed it. But I think keeping it here is more viable to the true entry that I would have wanted. I'm also looking at this from a first entry, second entry failure perspective. Second entry long.
Stop filled.
It's okay, that was just sim. Here's the test. First entry. That's the new low. Got a little range going on here. Pretty steep little downtrend forming here out of the range like congestion. Curious to know what I'm on the lookout for second entry short off of here. Strong little trend down here. Everything is selling off. Reacted pretty strongly off this point of control. Super interesting, actually. Unfortunately, the realistic reality is that this is already had a little bit of a, unless you draw this a little bit wider, it's already had a break a new low. It feels a bit sideways here. Again, this is another one considering break new low of this wider trend. Just really hard to take that with conviction. I think given the overall strength of this downtrend, it's not as as terrible as it would be if this were completely mixed trading back and forth. This is pretty clearly selling off. So I think a nice strong bullet bearish bar off EMA here as a second entry is something I would consider. If all the stars aligned, mini uptrend has a new high. I think there's reasons to like that. Mini uptrend being here, so this can get a new high. And close beneath EMA here. I think you would be risking that this is the turn, right? Like this is somehow the magical low. Doesn't look like we're going to get it anyways. Considerations going through my mind is if a nice bearish bar sets up here and does not break that high, am I interested? So hard. I think if EMA touch, yes. If no EMA touch, no. It's pretty dang close to needing to consider it now, restarting the count. First entry, second entry forming. Let's see if we can nick this EMA. Nice bearish bar. Set up for it.
Order submitted.
I told myself that's what I wanted. I'm going to follow through on this. If it does close bearish, there's just enough for a MAC exit here. I think, I'm looking for a little bit more than that. And we're not going to close. That's not bearish enough for me. If we can get a double bar entry that's bearish, I will enter that. I'm gonna enter this.
Order canceled. Order submitted. Order filled.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we can tick through. Let's see if we can tick through this.
Target filled.
And then I'll just follow this to each new high. Praying here that I don't get tagged out, which it looks like I'm going to.
Stop filled.
So one contract there made it through for a MAC exit. Let's see if I could have made my 8 ticks. Could have made my 8 ticks. See, that's what, it's really tough. It's super tough to know what to do there. I think given that it's, we're up against these lows here, I think that was the right exit to take, even though it's a bit risk to reward wonked. But I'm happy with that. Mark that a second entry. Short. So break, new low of this, continuing to get new lows on this wider channel. which begs the question, what is going on? Is there some sort of flattening out channel that could be explained here? Possibly something like this. Which also plays into, hey, just take the MAC exit here because we're up against some potential support. 1 touch, 2 touch, 1, 2, 3, 4 touches here. Let's see if we bounce or continue. It could be a little bit steeper, something like this. 1, 2, 3 off the top. Midline's honestly pretty nice there. We're just playing. We're testing channels. I will say this channel feels invalidated at this point. It feels like it's been kind of transitioned out of. It's almost like steering a cruise ship. Slow, like angle changes. Let's adjust this and see where we're at. So still back up in here. I think that is super interesting that this turned right on this point of control. So back this out. I think this is, it's what's so tough. Do you do -1? Do you leave it break even? Do you take 1 extra? This happens a lot. This tick to the tick sort of takeout. So, it's draw this. So 2 legs there. Interesting bounce here. I think begs the question, do we slightly adjust for this? I personally think we do. Drop this back down. I think you still get looking at the midline here, trying to, it almost feels nicer here. Just wicked off of that. It's the highs. I really like the way that fits. Even though you do have, some wicks out of it, the midline fits very well. So we've got first entry short here. I think a second entry short here is not acceptable given you're in the middle of this range here, which traditionally, honestly, is something that I've not paid attention to. Because the theory here is that to validate this range, you would be, probably making it to the upside of this. So hard to know how tight to draw these things. I don't think we have a visual break here. It's been pretty strong up. And man, it's super tempting to take this because we're up against this resistance here. It's a nice pullback underneath the EMA. I think we've got to take this. I'm going to do a limit. See if it drops down. Man, no, I'm not. Simply because to that point, it does not feel like it's had a break sideways. I think you can maybe say that this is a little bit of a break, a new high. Yeah, I'm talking myself into it. The more
order submitted,
the more I think about it. See if we can get it. Didn't trigger. Okay. No harm, no foul. This, on the other hand, is definitely a break, a new high. Really, no matter how you draw it. So I think you start looking at that, going, all right, let's see if we can make it to the top of this. I don't think you can take that. I just don't. I'm trying to honor this newfound rule system that I'm trying to implement. Um, and it seems like this in the middle of this range, going short here is right up against that, that support. Okay, kind of got something in, no man's land here. Looking at other angles. That doesn't really fit super well. I think we just got to kind of wait and see if it makes it back to the top of this.
Order canceled.
At this point, I'm not looking for a second entry short. I'd be looking for a failed second entry long or a lower high beneath EMA. It's pretty dang interesting though that we're getting this little touch. There's ways to make that work. Nothing's exact. Okay, breaking out. Interesting. That's to a touch. So I personally think a failure headed to the downside is probably what you want to look for here. I don't think that taking this as a second entry short is the move, but maybe, I think there's a lot of room to the EMA here. Not for the max scalp. But this seems, this seems pretty strong. So first entry long, second entry long, failure beneath the EMA. I'm going short. As long as it's a nice signal bar. Nice little new bar here, bullish, 1 or 2 ticks above, drop is exactly what I want to see here. It's a little tricky, the fact that we're not able to get a true clean second entry long setup here. If there's a new bar, ticks below this and up, that'd be your second entry long. I think there's still opportunity to go short here. It's reacting quite nicely off of this EMA. Which does beg the question, are we going to break here? I don't know that we can go short or long here. It's not the way I wanted it to set up. I wanted this to be closer back to the EMA. To go long here as a 1, 2 higher low is super tempting. But again, you've got this resistance popping here. I think you show me 1, 2 as a second entry short. I'm all about it. Like bearish, nice bearish bar that is ticked against this again. We got our 2 legs down. I mean, this is really just looking primed for a nice long. That's just a very strong bar, long bar to go long above into this resistance. And it's not even really like that confirmed. It does have 3 touches. 4 if you count this one. Now 5. I think you have to pay attention to that. You show me a nice bearish bar here. I think that's a really nice setup to short.
Order submitted.
I'm not going to do the engulfing bar, but I'll definitely take this.
Order filled.
I'm going to go for my full 8, expecting a drop down. Although this is a super strong 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll stick with 4.
Target filled.
Do -1. see if we can stick with it. Go minus, 1, 2, 3. I do think there's a good chance it drops down. Go above this tick here, just in case. There we go. I'm gonna do 2 just because it ticked me to
Stop fill.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, I gave back. It's another example I should have taken my full 8 ticks. I think, max entries. Oof, nice little lower high here.
Order submitted.
Didn't really end as bearish as I would have wanted. I think this is where I gotta stand out. I'm not
Order canceled.
confident enough. So I'm considering this a second entry short, given this is the new low, first entry, second entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches off of this downtrend here. I'm gonna size down. No, I'm not. I thought about taking this this lower high here. But I think you gotta pay attention to the fact that we did probably play. Yeah, I mean we reached our measured moves for like a correction if this is gonna pop back. Also interesting that this initial resistance became support here. First entry, second entry. Short opportunity. I think that's an interesting. That's an
Order
interesting
submitted.
to take that all the way down.
Order canceled.
Getting cold feet. I mean, it's just, again, dipping into this. Probably works out. But I'm hesitant. Super glad I listened to my gut. Now we're just going sideways again. I think I'm going to continue to draw these these triangles. Because I think I want to test over time what they end up doing. It seems like they tend to drop through the floor rather than rocket up. But I don't really understand why. Because if we're looking at this major downtrend, that's definitely confirmed now. It's got you know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches to it. Two on the downside. You know, you almost feel like since this part isn't really getting any action, this part didn't get any action. It feels like we're turning, you know, which does play into the large boat movement here. Curious, you know, if you do connect these. Like, that's very interesting. You know, that's a very interesting channel to look at. You know, if you just move this to the side for a second, overshoot leads to reversal. I think I gotta be mindful of that. You know, but at the moment, this feels not wrong either. It's just extremely tough to know right now. Yeah, I mean, back to the triangle conversation too. It's like, here it is again. You know, we're in a nice little first entry long failure, or a second entry short. You know, out of this little compression triangle shape. It's like it's almost acts as a resistance a little bit. Curious. This downtrend working. Okay, I think I'm gonna let's see how this plays out, and then I'm gonna wrap it up for the day. First entry short. No trade zone. I think as I'm thinking through rules of engagement for tomorrow, sticking with my 8 ticks profit and editing break even. Well, actually, this is already the way I wanted it. I just should have let it hit. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I want it. I think rules for tomorrow is just to follow this. Because this trade here could have been a full $100, came back up, and if it was -1, still kept me in, and then I would have been able to follow it all the way down to even if even if I let it come back all the way up here, I think, hopefully I would have just thrown the stop down here at 400. So could have been a $600 trade. And then similarly here, that would have hit me at 8 ticks too. So could have been around a $650, $700 day. I think I would have lost 1 tick here. I think this was a mistake. I think -1 is probably the farthest I want to go. Anyways, yeah, interesting thing happening here. Seems like you almost got 2 legs out of it. If it does bounce there, that's super interesting. It just doesn't feel like this is an overshoot, just simply because it didn't reverse. Also doesn't feel like it broke the other side. So yeah, all right, decent day.